Okay, so welcome to tonight's class. It's going to be a quick one. All right. We've got a few minutes to spend together, and then on Saturday evening, we're going to, just keep the ball rolling from there. Is that okay? All right. We're going to do some basic introductions today. Some of you will probably have heard this before. That's fine. I always tell you that repetition is the law of long and lasting impression. I repeat, repetition is the law of long and lasting impression. So if you heard this before, it's good that you hear it again, right? So let's go. Now, let me start with change. I want to start with this thing called change. Okay, in fact, let me do this and I'll do this. Okay, so let me start with this thing called change. Now, change is a universal phenomena or universal phenomenon. Okay, change is a universal phenomenon. So when I say it's a universal phenomenon, what I'm simply saying is that everybody experience change in one way or the other. A mother will see her newborn change into a toddler, and from a toddler change into a teenager. You see, a son will watch his father change into an old granny that is dependent on them. So change always happens. And even when you decide to ignore change, it will happen anyways. For example, if a farmer decides to leave his farmland or his garden uncultivated, something will still happen. You will have weed. There will be some type of change. It's a global phenomenon. All right. So the world is always changing. Now, this brings us to what I call the concept of change. Okay. The concept of change. Concept of change. Change is always happening. You all are here because you want to work for organizations, right? You want to work for companies that can pay you money. Now, for those organizations to stay relevant, most of them need to undergo change at one point or the other. For those organizations to stay relevant, most of them will have to undergo some type of change. For some organizations, it may be what we call digital transformation. Or some call it digital acceleration. So they're doing a complete overhaul of their tech stack to make sure that to make sure that every department in that organization is running efficiently on technology. So they will do a dissecting of everything that has to do with that company and ensure that whatever has not been automated, whatever is manual, whatever is inefficient can now be addressed digitally. And then they will bring about a total transformation in the company. Some companies will launch a new product. It is still change. Some companies will change an existing process. It is still change. Some companies will just maybe change just one part of their tech stack. Maybe they're introducing, a new finance system. Maybe they are introducing a new ERP, enterprise resource planning system. Maybe they are changing their CMS. This is enterprise resource planning. Okay. CMS is content management system. Now, some of you be like, I don't even know what these things are. That is what I told you. That business analysts would discover what they are. I remember the first time I was asked to work on a CMS, the only CMS I knew was the one in Obalende. Obalende CMS, that one in Lagos. Okay, the one in Nigeria. That was the one I know, the CMS. I'd never heard anything like that before. What the heck is CMS? Okay, but don't worry, these are some of the things I'm going to teach you in module 5. I'm going to teach you some of these things, what they mean, so that you don't get discombobulated when you hear, or you feel like you're disenfranchised from your team when you hear things like this. All right, so maybe they want to do these things. What I'm just trying to tell you is this: every organization, okay, is going to undergo one type of change or the other. Right now, companies are now leveraging maybe AI. So they want to do AI this, AI that, AI, companies are always undergoing change. So change is always happening. And this is where the job of the business analyst becomes important. But before we talk about what are the things that a business analyst will do, I think it behooves us to understand what exactly is business analysis. So business analysis is the practice, is the noun. Okay? So business analysis is the practice. And then the business analyst is the guy who does business analysis. So we're going to get to that. So let's talk about business analysis. What is business analysis? Now, I have to talk about change and help you understand that all companies undergo change, but they need somebody to chaperone that change. They need somebody to be a governor over that change. They need somebody to help them enable the change. Are you getting me? Now, that person happens to be you, the BA. How, you may ask? Okay, so that is where we now begin to delve into what business analysis is, and that will give you a good idea as to what this is. So, what exactly is business analysis? According to the IIBA Babok Guide, okay, the IIBA Babok Guide, the IIBA is the International Institute of Business Analysts. Babok is the Business Analysis Book of Knowledge. It is in its third installment, version 3.0. It has gone through a couple installments, so I'm taking from the third installment. It defines business analysis as the practice of enabling. Please, this word is very important. And this is where most people get it wrong. It says you are an enabler. 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 Let me help you understand what it means to enable something. You know, when you say you are putting fire inside something, right? How do they put it in pidgin English? They say okay, let me explain this. You know, when two friends have issues, right? Maybe friend A and friend B, they are having these small squabbles, and you are like, confront her, confront him, go ahead, go and ask him, make sure, and you know what that may cause. What are you doing? You are enabling a fight. You are an enabler. You're a catalyst. Do you understand? You're a catalyzer. You are adding fire to the quarrel. Thank you, Mr. Rossman. You are adding fire into the quarrel that will now turn into a fight. So you are an enabler. You are enabling the fight. Now, question is, are you the one in the fight? You're not the one in the fight. So it's the same way you are an enabler of change, but you are not the implementer. So this is where most people get it wrong. They think, oh, it's so difficult. I think I'm the one implementing. You're not the implementer, sir. You are going to be working with the implementers. You're going to be working with maybe somebody who is going to be implementing that Salesforce for your company. You're going to be working with somebody who is going to be implementing that Oracle suite for your company. You're going to be working with somebody who is going to be developing the new, features. You're going to be working with somebody who is an expert in laying out that process, the new process. So you are not the implementer, you are only an enabler. Are you getting me? So you enable the change. I think that's the first thing I wanted to say here before I go into other things. So business analysis is the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining the needs and recommending the solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. So we're going to take this one after the other and begin to dissect it so that you can have a good understanding of what it means to be a BA. So let's do that quickly. So the first thing I'm going to look at here is change. Is change. Change can be seen in two ways. Or if you join an organization tomorrow, if you join an organization tomorrow and you are a BA, the only set of things you'll be doing will fall under what I'm about to say concerning change. It will either be that you are creating something new, or you are modifying something that already exists. So the work you'll be doing as a BA will fall into one of these two categories. It's either that thing you are doing for that company, that organization, that client, that customer is a new thing for the organization. It's a new thing for the client. It's a new thing for the enterprise. It's a new thing for that department. Or it's something they already have in place. It's probably not serving them the way it needs to serve them, so they need some level of modification. Either adding a new feature to a product or changing certain bottlenecks or addressing certain bottlenecks in a process. And they will have their reasons for having to do this. So whatever you do as a BA will fall under these two categories of change. You creating something new or modifying that which is already there. And you'll be doing this for an enterprise. Remember that an enterprise is another way of saying organization or group of organizations. So basically, at the end of the day, you are just simply saying organization, right? That's what you're saying. That's what it means. So what they're saying here is that the business analysis is the practice of enabling change in an organization. That is what they're saying here. That business analysis is the practice of you enabling change in an organization. Now, let's break that down a little bit further. Right? So, let me see if I can take this with me. Okay, to the next page. Okay, so it's you enabling change in an organization. So change we already talked about. Now we've shown that this is actually organization. And when you talk about an organization, what makes up an organization? I've said this several times. I'll say it over and over again. Every single time I teach this is the same thing. It won't change. So don't expect me to say something different. The organization is made up of what they sell or what their service or their product. So let's call it product, because product can be tangible or intangible. I'll teach that in the product ownership class. Can be tangible or intangible, all right? Meaning something physical you can relate with, or a service, right? So it will be their product. What's an organization without their product? What is an organization without their process? You may, even if the process is bad, at least it's a process. Right? And that gives them an opportunity for them to improve it. Is that not? So it's a process. They have a process. They have policies. They have maybe some level of technology that is powering everything. Now, if they don't have a technology that powers it, maybe that will be the next change. They will be that maybe that's the reason why they are bringing you on board, to make sure that they have, some technology in place that can help them with automation. And lastly, they are people. Now, these people is in two ways: the people that make it happen, okay, the people that make it happen, and the people that you actually sell to, which is your market. So these are the people that make it happen. That means your employees, the employees of the organization, the employees, the directors, all that, internal and external, basically. So when you put all of this together, that is the totality of an organization. So if you're going to be creating a change, okay, if you're going to be creating a change, give me a minute. If you're going to be creating a change in an organization, give me a minute. So if you're going to be creating a change in an organization, which is creating something new or modifying something that already exists, what does that simply mean? What does it mean? It means that you are either creating a new product for that organization, or you are modifying the one that the one they already have. It's either you are creating a new process for that organization or modifying the one they already have. It's either you are creating a new policy for that organization or modifying the one they already have. You are creating a new technology for that organization or modifying the one they already have. You are creating new people or you're modifying the ones they already have. Now, let me explain this one before you say the business analyst is now a god to create people. When you talk about creating new people, you're talking about what makes anybody new. It's the information they get, right? Information is what makes the man, right? So when business analysts carry out a change, typically they do what is called training. And in that training, they give information as to how they can handle the new system, the new process, the new product, and all of that. So this will involve training and putting together training manuals. Sometimes user manuals. Okay? So don't think you're going to begin to breathe into man and man becomes a living thing. No, you're not going to be creating people like that. Okay? You're not going to be breathing into man and becoming, you're just going to be breathing information into them, right? So basically, your work will be either creating a new product, modifying the one they already have. It will essentially be one or more of these things. It cannot be outside any of this as a BA. Take my words for it. It now says that it is the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining the need. So meaning that change does not happen in a vacuum. Change does not happen in a vacuum. Change happens by reason of something that triggers it. Something must trigger the change. That trigger is called the need. It's called the need. So that is why it's saying that you have to define the need. I usually give this example of the plumber that comes to your house because you called the plumber and you said that you had a problem with your washroom. Now the plumber comes to your house, he opens the door, you open the door, and he dashes for the washroom and starts tinkering with anything he sees in that washroom. Now, would that be the expectation? Would that be the expectation? Okay, your answer is as good as mine, right? The answer is no. You won't expect that the plumber will just dash into the washroom and start tinkering with stuff. What do you expect him to do? He's going to ask questions first. He's going to ask, oh, yes, ma, or yes, sir. What do you want me to do? Or what would you have me do? What's the problem? And then you can now start explaining that the problem is your water system, or the problem is your shower, or the problem is, you now begin to explain what the problem is. So a need is what triggers the change. And every company from time to time will always fall into this need. Either they need to make their process more efficient, either they need to gain more grounds or more market share, either they need to make their checkout more user-friendly, either they need to upgrade performance for an existing system, maybe whether the need to catch up with the latest euphoria of AI, whether the need to digitally automate most of the processes in that company, there will be a need. You see? So the first thing that happens is you understanding the need. And how do we define need in business analysis? Need is either a problem to be solved or an opportunity to be cultivated. So meaning that it's not always problem. Constraint. Sometimes it may just be as simple as there is a new market we need to explore. How do we position ourselves? And then they will put together a committee or a team that's going to work on the change or work on that thing. And then now they will say you have a project. And they will call the name of your project diversification, whatever to Middle East. And then they'll put you there. Or it will be a merger project between two companies. And they will put you on that merger. You think that is not business analysis? Of course, it's business analysis. Yes, it's business analysis. So you will understand the need. You will understand what they need. Because sometimes even these people with the need may not be able to articulate that need. And I'm going to show you that in a bit. You first look at the need. You would explore the need. You will ask questions. You will gather information. And there are several ways to gather information. This is one of the things I'm going to be showing you in Module 3 under requirement engineering. This is particularly called requirement elicitation. It's called requirement elicitation. You'll be gathering information from research, from survey, from questioning, from observation. In fact, from experts. Because sometimes you'll be working with SMEs, the SMEs. We call them subject matter experts. So you are waiting to be an expert in a thing. Sorry. You will work on a project and you will be seeing the expert, the real expert there. You'll be consulting with the expert to collect certain information. So your job will be to extract information like a gossip. Your job will be to extract information like an amebo. Amebo is the same as gossip, just in case you don't understand what that is. Right? I call it ameborism. That is one of your job. You collect information. Now you collect enough information that it is enough for you and your team to begin to put heads together for a solution. Because even sometimes the people will tell you what they need. Sometimes it amazes me because people, they overthink this thing. They overthink what we do as a BA. Do you know that sometimes even the solution, you don't have to think twice before you get the solution? Because the people that have the need are telling you what they want. Yes. The people that have the need, in questioning them, they tell you what they want. You just need to take it and go with your team and then see how you guys can deliberate to make that thing come into reality and, make it work properly for this person or for that client. So you are collecting information so as to be able to give what is called a solution. You want to be able to give what is called what? A solution. So once you collect that much information, you are not going to be creating a solution. Give me a minute. I'm going to, if I go into that. Okay, a solution or solutions. Now, your solution could be in form of an approach. Because when you guys deliberate, you can say, oh, let us approach it this way. And that is a solution. You guys deliberate, you can come up with a design. That could be a solution. You can come up with a different technology to replace the current technology. That is a solution. You can come up with certain features. That is a solution. You can come up with certain steps in a process. That is a solution. So don't overthink it, that this solution is some abstract thing. No. So basically, you are working with a team of people to come up with an approach, to come up with a design, which may not be even you designing it, to come up with technology, which your only job may be to choose the technology. We call it options analysis. It's like you preparing for your wedding ceremony, and you have 3 locations in mind. And you and your husband sat down, or your husband-to-be sat down and started looking at the location. This one is 28,000 pounds. This one is 30,000 pounds. And this one is 15,000 pounds. Okay, what makes this one better than this? It's called options analysis. You are looking at the options available. That could be your job as a BA. In fact, that could be a full project. Yes. To give them options. I did this once. So, solution could be any of this, could come in any of these packages. You are creating features for a new product. You are putting in a new technology. You see? And that could lead to automation. It can lead to several other things. So at the end of the day, when you guys implement this solution, you are meant to deliver value, benefits. You're meant to deliver benefits. This is when you begin to hear things like 15% increase in efficiency, 30% decrease in churn rate, 50% increase in sales. It decreased the time for blah, 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 the turnover time by, 30%. What have you done? Value. You've created value. Because when they started that project, they started it with a goal in mind. Now, you being able to meet this goal is called value. If you're not able to meet this goal, then you've not actually, they've not derived value from that particular activity. So value is derived when you are able to meet the goal for which that project was initiated in the first place. And that way you are bringing value to all stakeholders. All stakeholders will benefit from the work that you do as a BA. Every stakeholder. Whether it's the developer, he will benefit from you because you'll be giving him clear instructions on what to build. You see, whether it is the customer or the client, they will benefit from your activities. Why? Because you'll be collecting the right set of information, okay, and also helping for them to build the right things for them. So you can see that the work that you do as a business analyst actually involves everything that I've just said here. Okay, so if we go in here, just going to everything I've said so far, you can see this is everything I've said so far regarding the need, regarding the change and all of that. Okay, so that led us to this point where we can now conclude that business analysis is the practice. So look at this. Business analysis is the practice of enabling something new or modifying something that already exists in a product, process, policy, technology, organization by defining the problems, the opportunities, the pain points, the constraints, all those things, and recommending features, steps in the process, design, approach that will deliver benefits to everyone and anybody that is either affected or that affects that project. That's business analysis for you. That's simple. If you're following me, please put yes in the chat quickly. Let me be sure that you've not gone to bed. I'll be wrapping up very soon, but not after I mention a couple things here now. So that is business analysis, sir. That is business analysis, man. In a few, just to put it in a layman's term. Yeah, that's business analysis. But here is the thing. Change, most times in an organization, involves different parties. It doesn't just involve only the BA. It involves more than the BA. For example, if you look at this illustration I have here, you can see that there is the customer. You can see that there is the project leader, there is the engineer, there is the programmer. Okay, you can see that there is the sales executive, there's the help desk, there's the person who was billing people, and then there's the operations. You can see that there were different people in this particular scenario. They were trying to build something for this customer because the customer explained something to them. But you can see that they all misinterpreted it. Look at, they all misinterpreted it. No documentation at all. Look at how this person was built. But look at what the customer really wanted. Look at what the customer really wanted. But look at how even the customer, look at how the customer even explained it. You see? Look at how the customer explained it. So it means that one of the things that you will do as a BA is called the need assessment, where you will need to assess the need, talk to the customer, talk to the client, try to understand what they want. Because sometimes they may not be able to explain it properly. You see? So you will need to do some need assessment. You will need to do some digging. This your need assessment will involve you understanding how do they do things currently. Sometimes you may need to ask that. How do you do things currently? Sometimes you may need to ask, what is the pain point? You need to understand what is the pain point. Who has that pain point? Who is affected by it? How often are they affected by it? You see? These are some of the things you may need to know during your needs assessment. Because how do you create a solution for something you don't know what is bothering them? It's like a man and a woman. And the woman is always angry that the man is not doing anything. But you're not saying anything. I'm asking you what is the problem. You're not saying anything. How do you expect me to know what the problem is? I should just know. All right. So you ask questions as the BA. Try to know how they currently do things. Maybe by reason of explaining the things that they do and how they do it, you'll be able to, pinpoint certain places where problems exist. And if you can't pick that out by yourself, there are certain people you work with in that group or in that project that will help you see that. You can then begin to understand what they want. Call this future state. This is the current state. So here, current state. There, future state. So this is where we are today, current state. This is where they want to be tomorrow, future state. All these things, you are gathering them up. It then means that there is this gap they need to cover. Gap that they need to cover to get there. So they are here. They need to cover a gap to get there. And all these things, you are gathering it through your amoeborism, through your questioning. Now, this is what you would have heard as gap analysis. I know you've heard it before. Gap analysis. I will explain that much later, not today. Okay? But just wanted to let you know that that's what they call gap analysis. But I'm going to give you a more concise one in module 3. Just understand it as a gap right now. So you will now begin to come up with and brainstorm certain things that you will do. The do's. Let's call it the do's. The do's, the doings. What are the doings that we need to do to get us from here to there? How can we satisfy this need? All the doings, all the things you need to do is what we now refer to as requirement. For example, if I'm hungry and I need to eat, eating food is the requirement. But you see what? This requirement can have 2 layers. High level and detailed level. Depending on how much question you ask. Let me explain. So I have a need. I need to get here. I need to get there. I am here. Now you've asked the question, you know where I am now, and you know where I want to be. You've understood my need. You now know the things to do. Sometimes the doings, the things to do, you may know it on a high level. Let me explain. I am hungry, right? That's my need. You come to me and ask me, what do I want? I say, I want to eat food. That is what is going to help me. Now, requirement, okay, is the usable part of a need, meaning is the part that you do. That's what we call requirement. Is what helps you to satisfy the gap. Anything you do to cover this gap is called requirement, sir. In simple layman terms. And you as a BA, you will be working a lot with this thing called requirement. I'm going to be teaching you in module 3. I'm just doing an introduction now. Next, on Saturday, I'm going to take you a bit further. Okay, today I just want to do like this on your back. So I just want to do like this on your back. So on Saturday, we're going to take it a bit further. All right. So what you do to get you there is the requirement, is the usable part. So when you fulfill a requirement, okay, when you carry out a requirement, or when you fulfill the requirement, then you are able to fulfill the need. For example, I need food to take away my hunger. If you go out there and buy me food, and you came back with this bucket full of chicken, and I told you, excuse me, I am a vegetarian. I do not eat chicken. I watched a movie over the weekend, an Indian movie over the weekend. So the guy happens to be a veterinary doctor, right? And he's like, they were trying to run, he and his girlfriend were trying to run away from some people. And they got into this house and they were served beef. He's like, I don't eat what I treat. He's a vegetarian. It does just made me remember the movie. So he said, I don't eat what I treat. So imagine you were bringing food for this person, for this doctor, who doesn't eat what he treats. So for that reason, he's not going to eat beef. He's not going to eat chicken. Now, have you satisfied his requirement? Will you be able to meet his need? Yes or no? Will you be able to meet his need? Because you know he needs food, and you went and you got food, right? Well, you got food. But have you been able to meet his need? Will you be able to meet his need? Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? You can put it in the chat. Will you be able to meet his needs, sir? He's hungry. He's a vegetarian, but you went and collected the chicken, bucket full of chicken from KFC. No, you will not meet his need. So you then need to go deeper. When you hear, a prophet that they tell the prophet, Daddy, go deeper. Daddy, prophesy more. Go into the hair. Then you now go deeper. So you need to now know, okay, what type of food? You see? And this is where your second activity comes in. It's called stakeholder engagement. You're going to engage the stakeholders in more ways than one. Stakeholder engagement. Because in engaging them, you will get to understand what they want. Not getting into this brouhaha here, where everybody is understanding different things. So you'll be able to now bring everybody into alignment. Everybody hears the same thing. Everybody knows the same thing. The way this person understands the problem will be the way this one understands the problem. Will be the way this one understands the problem. Because when you talk about changing an organization, different parties are involved. So you need to interact with these different parties, and you will be able to bring them coalesce, bring them together to understand one thing. Bring them together to understand the same thing. You align all of them. You'll be engaging with these different stakeholders on behalf of the other stakeholders. Do you see that? So you are making the other people's life easy by being the proxy. So by the time you now interact with this person, you will now know that he's a vegetarian. So the food you will now go to get, which is the implementation of the solution, will be the right thing, the right solution. So you'll be involved in stakeholder engagement. Of course, there are some things I've told you already. You'll be involved in requirement elicitation. And I just told you what a requirement is. That thing that helps you cover the gap, the doings. That thing that when you do it, it fulfills the need. It's called the requirement. I'm going to talk more about it in module 3. It's called the requirement. You'll be the one to elicit that doings. The same way I told you about how this person knows that it is food he needs to get, but what type of food, sir? You go deeper. The business analysis job is like someone who is 30,000 feet in an airplane and he sees a dual carriage airstrip, or he sees houses as if houses were dots. But as he begins to come down, okay, as he begins to come from 30,000 feet to 20,000 feet to 10,000 feet, that expressway that looked like a thread, that looked like a line from up there, is now beginning to look big. He's now beginning to see the detail on the highway. He can even begin to see the lines as he's coming down. He can now begin to see that house that he saw as one small thing like that house actually is a duplex. It has 8 rooms. It has corrugated iron sheets as the roof. It has a garden. You see, it has two garages. He cannot begin to see the detail as it comes closer. That is the job of a BA, sir. When you begin to get close to the problem, get close to you begin to see more, see more, see more. And as you are seeing more, you are communicating that. So you elicit, I'm almost coming to an end for today's class. You elicit the requirements, and not just elicit, sir. You will also do what is called confirmation. You will confirm that you are not, this person is not lactose intolerant. So you don't go and put milk, or he's not peanut allergic. And then you go and buy something that has some nutmeg in it or peanut. And before you know it, they say the person is in the hospital. That means you did not help him, or you killed him. So when you have elicited requirements, make sure before it goes into this thing, you can confirm it. That will be part of your job, sir. And then you also need to do what? Document. But before documentation, there is the part of analysis, meaning you are going to look through. If something is a huge requirement, you break it down, and you also what? Document it. So that's also part of your job, documentation. So all these things we're going to teach you. Elicitation, how do you do that? Confirmation, analysis, documentation, how do you do that? So all these things are going to be part of it. Number 5, you are also going to be doing what? You'll be doing monitoring and traceability. So because things are going to change, the person who wanted moi moi yesterday does not want moi moi today. He has changed his mind. He said market conditions has changed. He now wants what? Akara. For those of you who don't know what akara and moi moi is, it's food. Moi moi is just like pasta. Akara tastes like burger. In case you don't know what it means, Google it. You will see that what I'm telling you is true. And moi moi tastes like pasta, and akara tastes like burger. It's food. All right, just in case you are here, you don't know what those things are. I'm just telling you that just the same way people's appetite changes. You see, their appetite may change. It's just like a pregnant woman. Today, she just smells this thing, and she falls in love with Chinese food. Just all of a sudden, somebody that didn't even, you see, I'm not saying that your stakeholders are like Chinese food or something like that. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that over time, things may change because of market conditions and certain things. So the information they give you yesterday may change today. So you may need to, monitor those things, track those things, and be sure that you have the most recent information, right, for them to implement. Okay? And lastly, you may be doing some level of evaluation. Now, let me talk about evaluation. There are 2 parts of evaluation. There's evaluation when it comes to when you are building. So when you are building, you will do what is called testing. You need to test to see that what they are building is actually what you ask them to build. Okay? So you may be involved in that. The second part of evaluation could be post-implementation evaluation. Let me explain that. Post-implementation evaluation. What do I mean by that? So you know that they started this thing with a goal in mind. You see, they started it with a goal in mind. Now, were they able to achieve that goal after you implemented this? So your evaluation will be two-faced. Okay? Will be two-faced. So as a BA, business analyst, you are likely to be involved in most of these things. You are likely to be involved in this. Okay? So that is what I just showed you now. Need assessment, stakeholder engagement, requirement elicitation, requirement analysis and documentation, traceability and monitoring, and solution evaluation. Who is a business analyst? I'll stop here tonight. A business analyst is anybody who performs business analysis tasks, no matter their job title, organizational role. So meaning that you may not have been given the title of a BA. You may not have been given that title of business analyst in your former role, in your former position. Does not mean that you have not done what a BA does. If you've done any of this prognosing and collecting information, if you've done any of this kind of documentation, understanding what people need, and then you were part and parcel of that change, then you are a BA. For example, if you've done any of this, if you've driven change, if you've improved business process, if you've helped to launch a new product or service, you've improved the current state of a product or service, helped a business maximize profit and save costs, you made the process more efficient, you helped the process gain competitive advantage, you recommended solutions to prevailing business problems, you help business maximize opportunities by entering a new market. If you did any of this, you are a business analyst. If you've done any of this, or even more, there is more, but I just chose this. If you've done any of this, I'll prove to you that you're a business analyst. On Saturday, that will be my job. I'm going to prove to you that you're a business analyst on Saturday, and I'm not going to take you further into stakeholder engagement and stakeholder management. And then I'm going to explore with you the competencies. What are the competencies of a business analyst? Because some of you think you need to be able to speak confirmed grammar, that your grammar has to be very smooth before you become a BA. I will shock you on Saturday. That's not true. There are certain competencies which some of you already have. In fact, most of you already have. So what is stopping you? Why can't you become a BA? In fact, let's do a quick one here. I have 9 out of several things that you could basically do. Out of these 9, how many have you done before? If you've done 1, put 1 over 9. If you've done 2, put 2 over 9. If you've done 3, put 3 over 9. Please quickly do that in the chat. I want to see. And if you've done 0, don't worry. If you've done 0, don't worry. I will give you a project that will enable you to do this. So put that in the chat for me quickly. How many have you done? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many have you done? Let's go. Quickly, put that in the chat. Somebody say 7 over 9. You're a BA man or a BA sir. Let's go. 6 over 9. You're a BA. Let's go. 4 over 9. You're a BA. Now, all these things that you're identifying, please keep them in your back pocket because we are going to use that to create your resume. You see, that's thing that you're saying 5 over 9 is what we are going to use in creating your resume. I'm going to end it here today, and thank you for giving me an extra 13 minutes. I know sometimes when we do certain presentations, we go beyond 2 hours, but thank you for the time, for giving me that extra time. I'm going to stop here for tonight. Remember, what we are doing here for the free session, for the free week 1, is to help you see the possibilities, to help you see what we do on the platform. All right. So on Saturday, we are going to continue from here. Please, if you haven't joined you are welcome. All right. So if you have not joined our group, please go and join the group. I'm going to send the invite quickly in the chat. So please join that group so that it's the same link you're going to be using. It's the same link you're going to be using for Saturday. The link won't change. Okay, so please join that WhatsApp, forum. It's the same link you're going to be using. Okay, and don't forget, if you want to make a payment before then, please reach out to us on WhatsApp. For those of you in Canada, it's 1,890. You can spread the cost over 24 months. Yes, up to 24 months, you can spread the cost. For those of you in the US, it's 1,380 Canadian. Sorry, USD, 1,380, and you can also spread the cost 3 installments, 5 installments. It's whatever is convenient for you. Now I'm going to draw the curtain for tonight here. I'm just going to show you that again quickly for those of you. Now, you want to make a payment, all right? If you want to make a payment, just go to the website. Okay, no, that's not the website. Go to the website. All right, go to the Business Analysis Bootcamp. And then click on Enroll. You can click on any of the payment terms, and you can click on that, and you can go ahead and make a payment. You can also come in here and join our community. All right, the same link I gave you, you can come in here, join our community, and you can always reach out to us one-on-one. Thank you so much. Somebody has a question? Oh, please go ahead. Thank you. Question, please, before we end it. Question. I'm unmuting you, Nehemiah. Please go ahead and talk. Question. I'm done for today.
No, I think I missed the first 2 points you mentioned around. I don't know if it is a responsibility or what.
Need assessment. It's basically what it entails, right? What does business analysis entail? So I talked about needs assessment, and then I talked about I talked about needs assessment, and then I talked about the next one was requirement elicitation, right? Yeah. So did you get those points?
Okay, yes, need assessment. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
And stakeholder engagement. And then
I missed stakeholder engagement. Okay.
stakeholder engagement. Okay, EBM, go ahead, please. I've unmuted you.
Thanks. Sorry, I was trying to type, but my keyboard is not cooperating with me.
That's
For
fine.
subsequent classes, what's your preference for asking questions? Do you want us to raise hands?
So
Or some
typically,
people don't like you to interrupt them.
yeah, so typically you can wait till the end of the class, or if you
Okay.
have a question, just raise your hand. When I finish my line of thought, I will call you.
Okay, that's fine. Some people even find that hand raise distracting, so I just wanted
No, I love it. So I love it when you raise your hand. You don't even have to wait till the end. Just raise your hand. But what I do is when I see the hand up, I know you want to ask, you want to say something. So I just finish my line of thought because sometimes my line of thought could be crazy. So I just finish that line of thought. And then once I'm done and I've landed at a safe space, I will now say, go ahead and ask the question.
Okay. If this won't take too much time to explain, just curious to know, what would you say is the primary difference between a project manager and a business analyst?
Oh, very simple. The primary difference is the management of resource. That's if you're asking for just the primary difference. The primary difference is the management of resource. A project manager is the guy who gets you to do, and he manages the resources. There are three major resources when it comes to project management. You can even hear the word management. So he's managing the project. But question is, what makes up a project? You see, that's the question she asked. So a project manager, I like to explain things very simple so that you don't overthink it. Project manager manages the project, but the question is, what exactly does that entail? Everything that the project is. So number one, when you talk about the project, you're talking about people resource. There are people on that project that work on that project. It should be sufficient for the project to see the project to the end, right? So the project manager manages the people resource. So if he needed 2 developers, but there's 1 developer, the project manager will have to raise something to make sure that he has enough resource for that project. Do you understand that? So that's one aspect of the resource he manages. The second aspect of the resource that he manages is the resource of money, budget. We call it budget. So he manages budget. He tries to ensure that we have the budget for this project and we are working according to the budget. The BA will not do that. That's number second. The third resource, okay, is the resource. So I've talked about the resource of what? Of people.
You've talked about people, you've talked about budget.
The
So
resource
time.
of time. So he ensures that because project is a temporary activity that has a start and an end, is ensuring, and that's where, one of the things when we talk about planning and the rest, he does what is called a work breakdown structure to try, and it's not as if these things are perfect, they're estimates, and that's why they will give buffers. You see, when they do capacity estimations and the likes, they will give buffers. So if they did a capacity estimation and it's 13 weeks, they'll give a buffer of 2 weeks, for example. You see, or a buffer of 3 weeks and call it 16 weeks. Because anything can happen. And they don't want to go down for it. So they manage these resources. This is the one that they manage by themselves. Now, but there's another last one, and that's why I didn't say 4, but they're actually 4. But the last one that they manage is in conjunction with the rest of the team. Guess what it is? The last resource, I don't call it the resource, but they manage it. But they manage it in conjunction with the BA and the rest of the team. It's called the scope, the project scope. So that one is not their they don't single-handedly. They single-handedly manage time, single-handedly manage budget, single-handedly manage resource, but they don't single-handedly manage scope.
Okay.
So, and we can now begin to drill down. If this was a project management class, I can now begin to tell you some other elements of the project, like risk. You see, risk issue, but these are also areas that are overlaps. For example, a BA also take into cognizance risk. You see, so that's why I do not put risk as some of the things, because these are overlaps. But just to give you the principal difference is that the project manager is more of the person that gets you to do. This is what we need to do. Oh yeah, are we doing it? And then he manages the resource that gets it done. Right? And I've told you what those resources are. Whereas the BA is everything I just told you now. He's more of an enabler of what is happening on the project. Because the project is the vehicle. And I'm going to say that on Saturday. I've not talked on that. That's what I wanted to get into, but I can't get into today. The project is a vehicle for the change. Like, if you want to carry out a change, it's through what? Through what through a project. So project is a vehicle for the change. And there are several different people that interact to make sure that that change comes into reality. The project manager is one of them. The BA, you're one of them. Developers and all of that, you're one. So, you all work together to make sure that this is a success. All right. I hope that is clear.
Thank you. Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. If that is all that we have for tonight, thank you so much. And I will see you on Saturday. Thank you, Rosman, for joining the call. Appreciate it, brother. All right. So thank you, everyone. And I'll see you on Saturday. Bye for now.